No, I don't got it. I don't got it. Hey everyone, it's Olivia and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Like I said, I'm Olivia, I'm 26, I'm from San Diego, and I make YouTube videos about autism, specifically females and adults on the spectrum. So if that is something that you're interested in, I would super appreciate a like and subscribe. If you're not new here, you may notice that the background's a little bit, as my head itches, is a little bit different. It's the same background as usual actually, but just at a different angle. Normally I'm more over here and the camera's pointed this way. But today's just been like a really emotionally sucky day over some super silly reasons that don't even pertain to me, but still I'm just like, yeah, I'm just kind of like bleh, out after these emotions. So I thought we'd just have like a laid back video. Like I mean, I'm not, obviously my hair's a mess, I got makeup on, I got, you know, like my water here, like everybody in those videos that are like laid back like this. I've always wanted to make a video like this, but I don't really know how, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do it because I'm a babbler. I'm already babbling. I cut out a lot in my other videos, so we're gonna see how this goes, but I'm just gonna try to make it a laid back video with minimal cuts, and just kind of have like a conversation. So, and if I have notes here, like I always write like notes when I'm doing my videos, so I may be looking down at them. It's not because I don't know what I'm talking about, it's just that I forget because I have a bad memory. In today's video, I thought I would talk about autistic meltdowns versus temper tantrums because they're completely different things, okay? They're not the same in the slightest, and people love to comment on my videos that, oh my gosh, you're just throwing temper tantrums because you're a spoiled brat just to get what you want. And that's not the case, and it's really annoying, and these people are just ignorant, but I thought I would make this video because I know this happens a lot to other autistic people, whether online or in person, and so, you know, I just thought that it would be a good video. Sorry, also, I have on a baseball game in front of me, so I might get distracted by this, so this may not go well. Before I jump into the details, I'd like to thank today's sponsor for this video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online global community of learners, and it's an awesome platform. They offer courses to teach you new skills and skill sets. And the reason I joined Skillshare and wanted to be a part of it was because I wanted to kind of up my skill level on like my graphic design. And the course I took, it was called Design a Beautiful Stationery Set in Procreate and Adobe Photoshop. This course was by Agatha Vieira, and I chose this specific course to do first because I'm getting married next year and I want to design my own stationery because I'm super anal and I want things a certain way. I love learning, and I think most autistic people love learning, but I don't enjoy / I'm not good at learning in a traditional setting, like in a classroom. If you've been wanting to up your skill level on, you know, a skill you already have, or if you want to learn a new skill that you've never learned before, maybe to like start your own business, which, you know, I totally endorse, then Skillshare is a perfect place to start doing so. So if you're interested, I'm going to leave a link down below, and the first 1,000 people to click on that link are going to get a 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So I'll leave that down below. Let's jump into the video about meltdowns versus temper tantrums. So obviously, as I said, they're not the same for many reasons. So let's kind of go into the differences. So first and foremost, let's talk about like kind of the age, like, and there's not an age requirement, but when you think of a temper tantrum, you think more of like a child having one rather than an adult. Like personally, I don't really know an adult that would have like a temper tantrum, like, I want a cookie, like give me a cookie. Now, I'm not saying these people don't exist, but I don't personally know an adult who does that. But obviously you can see a kid doing that. So I feel like temper tantrums you kind of outgrow as you get older, but autistic meltdowns, autistic people can have meltdowns at any age. And it's funny because one of the reasons I thought there was something wrong with me before I was diagnosed was because I would have these temper tantrums. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry my phone is not on silent. What a bum. Okay, apologies. Now I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. One of the reasons I thought there was something wrong with me was because I would have these temper tantrums in my late teens and, you know, early 20s. And I was like, there's no way this is normal. Other people that I know, they're not having these temper tantrums over things that were seemingly dumb. But, you know, I didn't realize that they're not temper tantrums, they're uncontrollable, which I'll get into it in a second. But basically, obviously, as I mentioned, temper tantrums, you think more child, whereas an autistic meltdown can happen at any age, and there's no such thing as outgrowing them. There's obviously ways to manage them and prevent yourself from maybe having one by knowing your triggers and whatnot, but you don't outgrow them. And also, I meant to say, if you aren't sure exactly what an autistic meltdown is and you want like more in depth, I've done a video on it, which I'll link above if you want to go check that out. Secondly, when I kind of said they're uncontrollable. So autistic meltdowns, as I mentioned, they're uncontrollable. There's nothing we can do. When they start coming, they're coming. I think in another video, I called it like a tsunami or tidal wave or something. Like there's no stopping it once it's started. You have to work through the meltdown. There's no controlling it, because trust me, and this kind of goes back to, again, people say like on my videos, like, oh, well, just like control it. And it's like, no, I can't control it. Like, trust me, I wish I could, but I can't. There's no controlling autistic meltdowns. Whereas temper tantrums, now granted, you know, maybe a child when they're really, really little, like a baby or something, can't control their temper tantrum. But as you get a little older, you can probably control your temper tantrum. And that kind of leads into like, why is somebody having a temper tantrum versus why is somebody having a meltdown? So temper tantrums are goal-oriented. Somebody, usually a child, who is having, hopefully a child, who's having a temper tantrum, it's goal-oriented. They're having the meltdown, they're having the tantrum. And see, that's another thing, is that people like, you know, use meltdowns when just a non-autistic child is having, you know, a temper tantrum. And it's like, that's fine. There's, you know, we're not, the autistic police are not telling you like you can't use that. It's interchangeable. So I think that's also why people get confused. Obviously, I just had a Freudian slip. But, you know, a child will have a temper tantrum, say, because they, you know, like they want this cookie and their mom said no, or they're in, you know, the store and they see a toy they want and their mom says no. So they start throwing a temper tantrum to try to get what they want. You know, like, I'm gonna cry until you give me the cookie. I'm gonna cry until you let me play more video games, or whatever it may be. Whereas an autistic meltdown, the reason people have those is because basically your brain is overwhelmed. It's overwhelmed with either, you know, sensory stimuli like loud noises, bright lights, you know, emotional overload, obviously I said sensory overload, informational overload, like people are giving you too much information, and basically whenever you get overwhelmed, your brain kind of doesn't know what to do, and it just like shuts down and melts down, like you know, a computer. When the computer has too many tabs open and it's like, ooh, it's like being fried, and to protect itself, it just shuts down. And that's basically what's happening in our brains when an autistic person has a meltdown, where again, as you know, the child having a temper tantrum because they're not getting what they want, it is not because they've been overwhelmed or something. It's because they're frustrated or angry that they're not getting the outcome that they want. Now, I've said in other videos, I don't know which ones, but I've kind of said that sometimes I'll have meltdowns when something happens that, you know, wasn't the exact way I thought it was going to happen. It has to do with change. Autistic people can't handle change well. And I've had people comment like, well, that's you having a meltdown because you're not getting what you want. And it's like, okay, I guess I can kind of see how you're saying that, because like, say, you know, I said, hey guys, let's go to like this restaurant for dinner, and everybody agreed. And then last minute, they're like, actually, we want to go to this restaurant. That could cause me to have a meltdown. And so then people say, well, that's because they didn't go to the restaurant you wanted. But no, it's not. It's because it's a sudden change. And, you know, with a temper tantrum, say, you know, if this was a temper tantrum and I threw it, and my, you know, family or friends or whoever said, oh no, okay, it's okay, we'll go to your restaurant that you decided on first, then I would be fine. Okay. I'd be totally fine. Like I'd stop crying and stop doing my temper tantrum and I'd be fine. But because I'm autistic and I'm having a meltdown, not a temper tantrum, even if my family or friends or whoever said, oh my gosh, okay, fine, we'll go back to the restaurant, it doesn't help. It doesn't make me stop having the meltdown. You know, I don't all of a sudden snap out of it. There's no helping it. So that's, you know, like a major difference. You know, even if we're given what we want because we're having a meltdown, it doesn't help. It's, you know, it doesn't help. It doesn't matter. It doesn't help. Because it's like, trust me, it's like that. It's like, I know rationally it's fine to go to that other restaurant, but somehow to my brain, it's not fine. Unfortunately. Another one is, usually kids again, or whoever, when you're having a temper tantrum, you need an audience. Like, it's imperative to have an audience, usually your parent or whoever, to be there watching you have the temper tantrum. Because if somebody's not watching you have the temper tantrum, then you're not going to get what you want from them, because that person's not even knowing that you're having this temper tantrum. So it's like, if I'm throwing a fit because I want a cookie, but my mom's not in the room, then, you know, the child's probably going to stop having that temper tantrum. You know, if the parent ignores them or whatever, then they'll stop having the temper tantrum. If they're given what they want, they'll stop having a temper tantrum. But it all has to do, again, with goal-oriented and having an audience, where autistic meltdowns, they happen in public, they happen by yourself, they happen anywhere, anytime. It has nothing to do with an audience. You know, I have meltdowns by myself when I'm alone and I haven't seen anybody for hours, whatever. So it's not like I'm like, I want a cookie and I'm throwing this meltdown, but oh, nobody's home, so I guess I'll stop. Like, no, that's not what it is. So yeah, so that's another huge difference. Let's see. Did I write anything else? Now, the reason, again, people get them confused, one, because, you know, kind of the verbiage goes both ways, where temper tantrums can be called meltdowns, you know, in children, whether they're autistic or not. But it's because externally they both look very similar. Usually there's a lot of crying, there may be yelling, there may be like kicking and screaming, like physical stuff. For me personally, it's just mostly like a lot of crying. But so to an outsider, when, you know, they're seeing a child or an adult or a teen or whoever have maybe an autistic meltdown, and they're not educated, and or they, I mean, they don't even need to not be educated. It's just that they don't know if this person is autistic or not. They could be saying, you know, sorry, they just made a good play. They just look at them crying and screaming and they assume, oh my gosh, like look at this bratty kid or whatever having a temper tantrum. When in reality, this child could be autistic and they're completely overloaded from something and they're melting down because their brain doesn't know what to do and they have no control over it. So that's, you know, where they get confusing, because externally they look the same, but internally, you know, in your brain and for the reasons why, you know, you have them, those are completely different. Another thing is, an autistic person won't benefit from, you know, things that are done to normally stop temper tantrums, which I kind of mentioned. So like, you know, if you're having a temper tantrum because you want to watch TV longer and your parent goes, okay, fine, I'll keep watching TV. If it's a meltdown, that's not going to help. Again, like with my restaurant kind of little story, which that hasn't happened, but just, you know, what are those called when it's like a hyper... No, I don't got it. I don't got it. Another thing is like, a lot of times if a kid's having a temper tantrum, sometimes, you know, like the parent or whoever goes and tries to like hug them and to like calm them down. But for meltdowns, that usually doesn't help. And in my case, and I know in a lot of people's cases, that makes it worse because we don't want to be touched. Another thing is like reprimand. You know, if you try to punish your autistic child who's having a meltdown because you think they're having a temper tantrum, that's gonna just make things a whole lot worse, because it's not gonna help. It's not like you are saying like, stop this behavior, and you know, if you don't, you're gonna get in so much trouble, because they can't stop it. Whereas, you know, a child having a temper tantrum, if your parent says like, stop this behavior right now, like, or else, then they're probably gonna stop, you know, unless they really want to push their luck. But yeah, so anyways, I've been babbling, and I think this video says 18 minutes. Holy smokes. I knew this was a bad idea. But I hope it's been okay. Hopefully it wasn't confusing. I'm gonna watch it back. If it's terrible, then I'll have to redo it in my normal format. Hopefully this paints a clear picture of the difference between meltdowns and temper tantrums. Not sure clear is the right word, because, ooh, my favorite player just hit a home run. Clear is probably not the right word because I'm babbling, so we'll see how confusing this video is. I'm just not good at being like relaxed and nonchalant. It's like kind of like the typical like baker versus cook, where I'm a good baker because I have specific directions and specific measurements, whereas being a cook, it's not that I'm a bad cook. I can cook, well, tons of food, but I can get like confused and even kind of overwhelmed because I'm like, it doesn't tell me how much of this to add, or it doesn't tell me like how long exactly to cook this. So that's kind of the video format. It's like, if I'm just like given like a open goal, this goes back to my workouts too. If I'm given an open goal, oh, that's not good. Anyways, have a blessed week, and I will see you next week with an all new video. Bye guys.